Python variables. Variable is a name of the stored value. Whenever we declare a variable in a program, we instruct computer to allot a memory space. User-defined name for this allotted memory space is variable. Further, we can use this variable to store and retrieve the input-output values of a program. Variable is also an object in Python because based on the type of the stored value, it comes under any one of the built-in data type class. So when it comes under a class, it becomes an object. We already discussed about built-in data type classes in Python data type video. If you want to know more about data types, please you refer it. And if you not understand about class and object here, you don't worry about it. We are going to discuss about object-oriented programming concept of, we are going to discuss about classes and objects clearly in OOPS concept of Python. And next we have to know how to declare a variable in Python. This is a variable declaration syntax. Variable name equals value. Here equals is assignment operator, which is used to assign value from right to left. Your value should be in right side and variable name should be in left side. For example, here I declare a variable name num and assign a number 11 in this variable using assignment operator. Here num is variable and 11 is stored value. Consider we write this code inside of a program. While executing the program, wherever the interpreter reads this variable num at the execution time, wherever the interpreter reads this variable num, immediately it finds the address of this variable. It finds the linked memory address of this variable and retrieves the stored value from it. So this is actually what happens while using variable in program. Okay, now we understood, I think. Even variable name is user's choice. That is user-defined name. User can give any name for the variable, but there is some rules to follow. That is naming conventions. User-defined names generally known as identifiers. So these rules common for all identifiers, including variable. Variable is also one of the identifier because user can give any name for a variable. It is user-defined name. User-defined name generally known as identifier. So user-defined name can contain both letters and numbers, but it should not start with a number. It can alphanumeric, but it should not start with a numeric. Okay. Special characters not allowed except underscore. Underscore can use in names with multiple words. So if you give identifier name in multiple words, at that time you can give it in readable form using underscore. And let's see some sample code for how to use variables in a program. Here we are going to do some simple addition using static input variables. Static input value means we can give this value in a variable in program itself. We cannot change this value at runtime. If you want to change this value, return to the code and change it in program and again execute it. It's also called as fixed value or literal value. Okay, fixed values or literal values cannot change at runtime. Okay, now we are just going to open Python IDE. A new file, save this file. File name addition.py. You save this file. Now I declare a variable name A. A is a variable name and assign a value because this is static input. We give this input in program itself. Enter and go to the next line. Give another value, another variable. Okay. So B is second variable, if you want to give these two statements in single line, you can give it, but you have to use separator, semicolon. Okay. If you want to write multiple statements in single line, you can write it using separator, that is a semicolon. Okay. Semicolon is a separator between the statements. You can write many statements in single line using this separator. Okay. And print a plus b. Okay. Now execute. 67, right? Because these two values are static values. 12 and 55 is static values. If you want to change those values here, you cannot change it because these values are static, that is fixed values. If you want to get these values at runtime, you can use input function. Okay, this function used to get the value at runtime. Okay, so just I show you the explanation. So this type of input is known as dynamic input or user input. Input function used to read input at runtime from keyboard. So you can get different results for various input values. You can change the input values at runtime. Okay. Here you can see the example. Just run this program. Now I get this input values at runtime. I'm going to get these values at runtime. Here I just enter 77. It's waiting, the cursor waiting for input. So I enter the first value. When I press enter key, this 77 is stored. Here the first variable name is A, right? So first address, allotted address for A, right? Second allotted address for B. So first value, whatever value we given, that value is assigned in A's address, and second value, whatever value we type here, it goes to the B's address. Now A contains 77, B contains 88. Now if you press enter key, it concatenates those values because input functions, by default input functions gets the input in string format. Okay, so input functions generally, input function treats input as string. Okay, so if you want to convert it to integer value, you can use conversion function int. Okay, and if you want to convert it in float value, that is decimal value, you can use float function. Okay, just we use input function inside of conversion function. So whatever value we get through input function, that value already passed inside of conversion function, so automatically it converts to particular form. Okay, in first value we instruct to convert into float value, and in next line, that is in B's value, in variable B, we instruct the input value convert into integer value. Okay. So now both values are convert into number. So if you run this program now, you can get the number value. So it can add strings only. Strings addition operator, that is plus operator, can concatenate the string, but it can add the values when it is in number format. Okay. Why it shows 0.0 means we give one value is in float. This value in float. So in result it shows 0.0 by default. Okay. You can give one value in float, first value in float conversion. Sorry. Now first value is in float and another value, second value is in integer. Now okay. And if you want to show some statements before print the result, you can give it in strings. Okay. And don't forget to separate those string and variables inside of print function. You should separate it by comma. Okay, inside of print function, if you want to give the combination of both strings and variables, you have to separate it by comma. Okay, and run it again. And if you want to show some string while getting the input, and if you want to show the dynamic input values, whatever values you give, get at runtime, those input values you want to print in the before the result, before you print the result, you can print it here itself. A is a variable, so first you have to close the string and put comma and give the variable name. And again, if you want to give another string, you have to separate it by comma and give. And again, we have to give variable name and again separate the string. Okay, comma and variable. Okay. I just comment these lines. Now it's in commented region. When you comment it other, that is if you give comment that is hash symbol in Python, Python interpreter, skip those lines. Okay, never executes these lines because it's just we instruct to skip these lines. Okay, and next one, just I want to get a string, so I use one variable name. Variable name is name. And the input function, by default input function gets the string value. Here I'm going to get this, I want to give the get the string value, so I just call input function. Can use both single or double quotations for strings. Ask username. This is here we want to get name in string format, so no need to convert in any form because input function gets the value in string by default, so no need to convert in any form. Okay, because it's by default it's in string format, it gets in string format. And print here I give one static string. Here I'm going to give variable name, so I put comma before the variable name and run this program. Now it's waiting for the input. I enter my name. Okay, so runtime we can give any name. Just run again. Okay. So this is called dynamic input. We can change the input values at runtime. Thank you.